Hi there and welcome to Yarnspirations.com. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about where to stick your hook when you're crocheting. It is said that 80% of learning how to crochet is knowing where to stick the hook, and I think that that's a true thing. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what the top of your stitch is going to look like and where to stick the hook. Now, this is the top of a swatch of single crochet, and you can see the V. See how each stitch looks like a little V? And the two sides of the V's we call the two legs of the stitch. So the front leg is the side that's closest to you when you're stitching, and the back leg is the side that is farthest away from you when you're stitching, no matter whether you're facing the wrong side or the right side when you're working. Now I'm just going to work in single crochet, and let's take a look at regular single crochet. You would put your hook through both legs of the stitch, right? Both legs of the stitch. You can see there's the front leg and there's the back leg, and you're going to put your hook under both legs of the stitch. So that's when you're just doing normal crochet, and that's not just single crochet. My swatch is single crochet, but that's double crochet or any stitch that you're making. Now sometimes you'll see a direction that says put your stitch in the front loop only. Say it's single crochet, the abbreviation might be SCFLO or SC-FLO. FLO meaning front loop only. So the front loop is the one that's closest to me. So in this case, let me get my finger out of the way. In this case, you're going to insert your hook only under the front loop of the stitch, yarn over, pull it through, and finish the stitch. Now let's see that again. Through the front loop only. So there's the front leg, there's the back leg. I'm going to go front loop only. And you can see this is often used in a lace stitch because it makes it a lot more open. See how the single crochets through both legs don't want to pull up from the work, but the front loop only ones really do. So a lot of times you'll see front loop only in a lace stitch. Now what if it says back loop or back leg only? That would be BLO. In this case we're going to skip that front loop and start in the center of the stitch. So these stitches are back loop only. You use this stitch a lot if you're going to make single crochet ribbing, but again, the loop of the stitch, the top of the stitch is going to look the same no matter what stitch you're making. So if I'm going back loop only, now you can see on the back leg only or the back loop only, this also pulls up, but not quite as much as the front loop only does. So let's go through both legs of the stitch right before this chain space that I have made. So this is a chain 3 space. So the other thing that happens is instead of putting a stitch in a stitch, sometimes you're putting a stitch in a space or in a chain in a space, and I want to show you the difference. So say my instructions now said chain 1, single crochet in chain 3 space, chain 1. So there's my chain 1, and if it's telling me to single crochet or double crochet or whatever stitch I'm doing in the space, I'm literally going in the space. It doesn't matter where in the space I go, because the stitch will move around if it has to. So when I'm blocking, if this stitch is not exactly where it wants to be, there's play in the stitch. You can see the chain can move back and forth in the stitch. So it's very common, once again, in lace stitches for you to stitch in the chain space so that when you do your final blocking, the stitches have room to move and they end up where you want them to be. But sometimes it'll tell you to chain in a specific chain, and that's when I don't want the stitch to move. So say it said chain 1, which I've already done, single crochet, or skip 1 chain, single crochet in next chain, chain 1. So in that case, I don't want to chain in the space. I don't want to stitch in the space. I want to stitch in the actual chain. Now, a lot of times I tell you guys when you're working on a project to work in the back or the bump of the stitch when you're doing a foundation row, but this is not a foundation row. So what I really like is to go under 2 of the 3 legs of the chain. So that way you have the two legs that you're stitching onto, so that's nice and sturdy, and one underneath. Now, if you went only one leg only, would that be the end of the world? No, it would not. I just think this is a little sturdier. So again, I would chain, and then I would skip a chain, and then I would go to my next stitch, whatever the instructions said. Now this stitch will not move. One of the reasons we put stitches in specific chains rather than chain spaces is we do not want the movement. So those are the various places you can put your stitches. Just a little reminder if you need it. Thanks so much for joining us here on Yarnspirations.com.